Hi, my friends and relatives. In the Hawa magazine today, we are sitting with my relatives from the North American nations. We're gonna talk about buffalo life, and we're gonna talk with Jeff, who is working with buffalo keeping, would I say, work and try to recover the population of buffaloes in the Indian Nation, particularly in the Lakota Nation. So I'm glad to sit here with all of you. I would like to ask you everyone to introduce yourself, to let them know you.
Halito Chukma, I'm Grace Hayes of the Chickasha Nation.
I'm Holden Hayes of the Chickasha Nation.
Wakata Kutea Upe, which translates to bringing shooting, killing from above. And my name is Jeff Ironcloud from Pine Ridge, South Dakota, Porcupine community.
My name is Waylon Pretenzigo. My traditional name is Nakpetitarish, which means bear comes out in the Hiradza language. I'm a member of the Mandan, Hiradza, and the Rikura Nation.
Well, we are here with the idea to have a conversation, brothers and sisters, with Jeff. I'm glad to sit in here now with Jeff because I'm grateful the working he's doing right now to take care of the buffalo. Once we take care of the buffalo, we are taking our life, our communities, our way of life. So that's wonderful. The first thing I want to ask to Jeff is, what is the history about buffaloes in Lakota Nation or North America? Tell us a little bit about the history of buffalo.
Okay, thank you. Well, the history of it is it is part of our life and our culture, and it's basically it's who we are. It's who we are as people, and it always has been and always will be. We try to extinguish, the buffalo at one time, but they couldn't do it, and it's a sacred animal, and we believe it's our brother, our sister, our grandma, our grandpa, our children, our relative. So we teach it as such, and so it's something that's very, very dear, very, very sacred to us as people, and that we believe that it's coming back stronger. Example, like in our tribes in South Dakota, they're coming back in our families, and the people are taking care of them, or they're taking care of us, and so we're reconnecting, we're connecting again, and we feel really good about that. And so it's something that in a ceremonial sense, that it's something that we within us, our connection to the Buffalo Nation. It sustains us spiritually, the food, the clothing, the tools, the whole shelter, it's all in the, our relatives taking care of us, from day one, and it's still happening, and it's getting stronger, and I'm really, really grateful and to be part of this, the part of being able to be around them, them being around me. So it's really it's a powerful animal, just like we see our relative, one of our sitting here, this buffalo skull, it's just like that. This is a very, from what I understand, this is a very, very sacred old skull, but it's still here with us. I'm really grateful to my brother Pete for allowing us, and his father picked it up a long, long time ago. Thank you, Pete.
What about you, Williams? What was the history of buffalo in your nation?
Well, I have a little bit of a personal connection. My daughter's name in the Hiradza language is Abdahidi, and what that means, or what it describes, is the color when they're changing their coats, when the buffalo's changing their coat from summer to winter and winter to summer. It describes the color of their coat, and there's no interpretation for it. But from what I've learned as a young man, that the buffalo and the Lakota people, we were one. We came from them, and that's the long and short of it. Is we have come from them, and the decimation of that there's pictures of skulls piled high as a house, and that there kind of is a reflection of how I feel colonization has come on us, has come over, just taken us out almost. But we're still here, and we're still here to tell our stories, and I think that's the beauty of being together and being in a circle again, and being around each other. It's a really beautiful thing. There's some really good stories, and sometimes we can't tell our stories yet. It's got to come to the winter time before we can tell our stories, and that time is when we can definitely sit down and share, I think, those real stories when the earth is asleep, when everybody's asleep. That's kind of how I was taught, or from what I've learned in my experience. And everybody has different experiences, and that's the beauty of our walk. I firmly believe.
I know, Grace, you are a history teller, and I hear you a couple times. You're a great history teller. Also, Holden is an artist. You're a sculpture, and I see nice work he's doing, right? And awesome. Like Indian, I feel a little bit proud. Like I say, we usually are not proud, because the proud is some things could be wrong, but happy. That's the idea. Be happy for. I wish, can I ask you, what is the history about buffalo related to your nation? Do you have this?
Well, I smile when you said history teller, because it made me, every time someone says that you're a good storyteller, I always laugh, because I have only the stories which were given to me. I don't write good stories, I just remember them. Yeah, we had a game when I was a kid, which was in my mind, how you punish children who are very patient. But later I realized was the best game I got to play, because we have Big Rock, Little Rock, and this is my grandfather sitting on the Big Rock and me sitting on the Little Rock, and just listening to his stories and him asking me what it is about all of our relatives. But more stories from my family came about wolf, and definitely more in the winter time. And in terms of wolf being in balance with buffalo and elk and with us, so that it wasn't just one animal. These are all our relatives. Even when I didn't feel well and I went to talk to my mother, she would say, you know, what is it happening? And I would tell her, and then she would say, who do you need? She didn't say, what medicine do you need? She would say, who do you need? You know, which of my relatives, which plant. So even when I was young, hearing, you know, the plants, the roots, the animals, everyone, the trees are relatives, giving them respect and honoring them for helping us.
Can I ask the Holden, what do you think about why we call Buffalo Nation?
Well, I think there was a time when people in Buffalo lived in balance, and then that changed. And I think it's really important that we bring the buffalo back, because they are very important for the health of the Great Plains, and they fill the role that cows and people cannot fill.
Well, Jeff, always you work going on in Lakota with the buffaloes. Tell us about how difficult you have, how new things you have, how is the work going on?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is that it's in a way it's kind of sad that we have to have them in a fence, on a fence, and on a small property, But I guess the positive side to that is that they're coming back and they're bringing their medicine to us, and so it's really important in that sense. And also that one thing that we're doing now is, and we're struggling with it in a way, is that getting more land for them, because they grow, and then so we need more land, and that's something that we're looking at, and working on, and it's a task. It's a task to get that done, but it's I'm really grateful for the other family members and the other community members that help maintain that, keeping it together and keeping it going. So it's really to me it feels really good, because also there's young men that come in and they use that for a rite passage, today's language and the ceremony, and they're able to to do their first kill, but there's also a ceremony that they don't just go out and kill it. They have a 4-day ceremony, a 4-day sweat lodge, and they have elders talk to them on the reason and what they're doing, why they're doing that. And so that's, for me to witness that and to be helping that, it's really good, because see these young men, how it makes them feel, and so it's something really powerful. I'm real grateful for that. So also watching them as a family, the buffalo, they always if there's some kind of they feel threatened, then I noticed, and it's probably the natural way, is that they always, the younger ones, the calves are always put in the middle, and they're surrounded and they're protected. So it's really interesting how that's a natural way. I mean, so it's really, really grateful to see that, being able to witness that.
This is how we're many times how we were taught, to look to other animal nations, how they are with their families, how we will become successful in the family communities by learning how they also do this. And in the land, the need for land for our relatives, our nations to be not fenced. A few years ago was in Canada, and there were some wolves in this place in Canada where some of the people in the south of the island, more of them were from Europe and from the United States of America who were living there. And they were, mira, this one's coming to talk with us too. They were upset because the wolves were coming into their yards and talking with them a lot. And I went there to this island just to listen, to see what it is that can be understood, why this is happening. And in the north of the island was indigenous nation, and I knew they knew wolf. They weren't talking to each other at that time, the north and the south of the island. But by chance, I was looking at a map of this land, and the map was old, and I could see the pathways in nature where the animals were passing through. And I asked her, are there more maps like this? There was a biologist. She said, yes, we have maps from the sky of this land for more than 20 years. And I said, so we looked at those maps, and you could see there was not a wolf problem. There was a people problem. The pathways through the land had been broken up with houses, and so the wolves could not travel to the places where they teach their children for hundreds, thousands of years. They're teaching them how to fish on the Wolf Beach. They're teaching them how to hunt in the north of the island. They have to teach their children, so they have to take them where they can learn how to fish and how to hunt, and where to play safe. And this is what I'm remembering my grandfather telling me. When wolf and buffalo can pass through the land freely, then we too will be back in balance, free with them. So for there to be enough land for them to go across the continent in their natural way, have the land that their nations, how they lived before. And wolf will come too. Prairie dog will come. Everybody will come back.
Buffalo come back in the way it was before. I think all creators come back, and we can get back to food too. We can ask permission to buffalo, and we can have food too. So it's amazing when Jeff told us it is 4 days to pray and 4 days to clean yourself in order to have a buffalo meat inside you, right? It's something like we don't see any kind of respect in the actual society where they can just kill the animals like they doing nothing and just eat like it was no food. This is something like amazing me because they don't show any kind of respect. they don't show any kind of the love. They don't take care. They don't grow together. Right?
It's a lot about control. It's a lot about power and control, and that I think is the sad fact. Is man thinks he can control nature, and that I don't feel that anybody at this table thinks that way, and so we do need to restore that balance, and that's I enjoyed the story you shared, that when the wolf and the buffalo can roam freely again, then that's when we will be back in balance. And so that is the work that you are working toward. That is what
Yes.
yeah it's a humbling experience.
Like you were saying that you're learning from them again, and the young ones are learning from them. This is we were and we are and can be again, nations in balance within Wolf Nation, Buffalo Nation, and human being nations is not that far away. When I was 7 or 8 years old, sitting by my grandfather, I wanted to get up and go play soccer. My cousins were playing soccer. This is the plains, and so this is like dirt. It doesn't stay on the ground, it comes out. So it's all dirt cloud with the kids, and I was watching them playing with this ball made from trash and duct tape, I don't know what happened to the soccer ball. And I'm watching them, and two things happened. I wanted to go, and one of my aunts said, "Do you want to go with your cousins?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, okay. And if your grandfather falls over?" I was like, "Oh. And if he needs something to drink, some water, then it's okay. He just doesn't have water." And I realized why I was sitting there. I didn't know why I was sitting there. Eventually someone would come and get me and put another kid, And in that time, while I was sitting there, because old people do fall over sometimes. That happens, And you just holding them like this till they wake back up. And I was hearing these stories from him, and he said all of these things to me about, actually very hard to talk about, because it was a difficult time, so we can't forgive ourselves, but it was also us who betrayed our brothers and sisters, because we allowed those skulls to pile up like that. He said we were tired. It was a difficult time, but we also did not protect them in that time. And he even told me the story of a particular day when there was a moment in our nation where the relationship between the wolf and us separate, and we have to look each other in the face and know, it's happening, that we are separating. But he said, "It will be you," and he went his arm across all of us kids, and he said, "When the wolf becomes the strongest teacher again, and then it will be you." And so I didn't hear him very well until I was older and compelled to stay involved with my wolf relatives, because for me, wolf is like buffalo for you, because the more stories I heard were wolf stories. But the relationship between wolf and buffalo was always discussed in those stories, and elk also, prairie dog. And as I became invited to work more with wolf and education, I start to realizing, wow, this is happening. This prophecy I was told so confidently, my grandfather just say it like, tomorrow will rain, it will be you. And to see that is very, it waking my heart up again, you know, because it didn't seem possible when I was young, but now it's instead of how we're gonna do it, it's just take the next step. We are doing this. We are repairing that betrayal. And that time when we were not able to stop that, that was a confusing time, and there were those who believed that if you cut off the life of this nation, you cut off the life of these nations, and if you cut off the life of Wolf Nation, then you have no competition. You can take everything. This is just not a sustainable idea. So in a time when that sustainable idea is present more in the world, then we can take courage to say, look.
It's the prairie dogs.
Yeah,
the prairie
our little
dogs.
cousins.
Yeah, the ranchers of South Dakota are trying to poison them because they're invading the pastures for the cattle.
But that's where they live.
Yeah. But that is, I do believe there's legislation passed in South Dakota that allows for the ranchers to poison. Is that correct? Am I on the right path there?
Yeah.
Or
For what animals?
prairie dogs.
But the cows are living there, or the buffalo? Because the buffalo and the prairie dog know how to live together.
Yeah.
But it's the cattle
Oh,
that they're
cows.
trying to protect. The ranchers and whatnot are.
How prairie dog is a threat to cows?
Anything's a threat to cows.
Why do you say that?
They're so needy.
Who, the cows?
Yeah, like and
The cows.
I'm sorry, they're not natural. They're kind of just
Like a pet.
they shouldn't have been made and bred to be like that.
Yeah, the color is wrong. It's forget the family living, you know, the cooperation, the balance. They forgot everything. So when you live with any animal, you have to live together. You have to cooperate. You have to learn how to live with them.
And the young man Harold brings up an excellent point. That is an excellent point. It is, they're not natural. And the way that they are raised, the way they're overfed, the way they're just made to, it's factory, it's control, it all goes back to the control. And they
even poison it.
And then poisoning
even
our natural brothers and sisters to.
So what, they're tripping in the
perpetuate that.
holes and break their leg? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So let's kill them.
Well, I think it's important to realize that if an animal is living in the prairie and they can trip and get hurt that easy, they maybe need to learn how to live in the prairie.
And it all boils back to buffalo.
Yeah.
And
That's the-
prairie dog and wolf and elk. The natural.
You know what is true in my nation too? So because we live with this kind of interrelation with the Spanish, but that's different than in here, because when the Spanish come in, they don't bring families.
Yeah, they didn't bring
So
women.
they have to make family with our ancestors. But that's not only raping women or all this horrible stuff, but they also have families. They get involved in our wars. So it's just two options: to keep living like invaders, controllers, you know, slave or people, or can start to learn the natural and learn how to live with nature, how to live with us. So some of them did in the past. That's why some of these Indian today are descending with parents that's coming from even Spain, right? It's amazing. And when we going to find a way to return our ancestor way of life, it is we're going to see the llamas and alpacas. See, it's a man who take care of the llamas and living together. We call Liamichu in my language. Liamichu is the llama keeper, and they live in the high altitude of the mountains. And in the celebration in the valley and in the communities, Liamichu it's a character with the mask. It's coming and flying around everybody, and it's always flying like, "I'm your father, man. Did you forget me? Girl, did you forget me? I'm your father. Look at me." And you see, they flying around with all these young people and they say, "Why? What happened? Can they scary? Can they funny things?" And they do all kind of jokes. Like they look into you. For example, a girl I said, "Carmincha." He said, recognize his name and said, "She's the same Carmincha. What are you doing? You are Indian, you know. I'm your father. You forgot that." And she was like. So the thing is, the ancestral way, the ancestral teaching, coming from the people. They are keeping llamas, you know. The same thing where we're talking about now about buffaloes. So our ancestral way of life is related to how we live together with the llamas, alpacas, vicuña, guanaco, etc. And that is the main way. But still, we know in different places how to live with other nations of the animals. It's always the same. It's always the same. Always find a way to live together. You see, protected together, or by reciprocity. We take care of the llamas, and llamas take care of us, right? We feed them, and they feed us. So that's the life where we learn. And that's the point we're talking about today. But right now it's a lot of, well, it's not a lot, but it's buffaloes in Yellowstone National Park, right? I don't know if you told me. The point is, when this buffalo population will start to growing, we can claim to say, okay, we want this buffalo.
Yes.
Here, instead you gotta kill this buffalo because they just wanna kill. It's too many buffaloes. We gotta cut up. We gotta kill it. So you just give
Control.
it, you know. And by law they do that. All these ideas they say, oh, we gotta protect the buffalo. We got national park. They can live nice and fine. It's
but once
wrong.
they cross that
when
line,
they cross the line, oh no, gotta kill them. That is totally wrong, right?
Yeah, there was a young calf separated a little bit. You know how they do. They let them get a little far away and catch up. They need to learn to be strong, and they need to remember to pay attention. This is when we do this with our children too. You say, come on, and they don't come. You keep going. And then, you know, you remember that moment? They're running to catch up to us. Well, this calf got separated in Yellowstone, and two humans, men, they were worried about it. They watch it for a long time, but they don't know the buffalo. They don't know them. So they got worried. They thought that the buffalo parents had deserted the baby. They were confused. They put the buffalo in their car. When the Yellowstone ranger came, they were angry, of course, because when people visit the park, they don't want them messing with the animals. They live there. But they didn't bring that calf back home. They kill him because they think that the buffalo will not accept him back. They didn't try nothing. They just kill him. So too much involvement and not enough listening, you know.
I think they are scared of the animals. I have this feeling that
yes, I do, because
they
it would get to be too many of them.
Always this scary idea for any animal. If you see the snake, just get away and just keep walking through the side. You don't have to be
Sure, they
play to
can kill
scare,
you, but
right?
they're no murderers.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they don't
the
want
difference.
to,
That's
Yeah.
the main issue.
but if they have to, they will.
Of course. They
And me
don't.
also, if I have to, but I hope I never have to.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the surviving matters for everybody. For the animals, for us, it's the same thing. So what happened with the Lakota or Cheyenne or Navajo, whatever, they are so trade that they're gonna disappear with killing a lot. At some point they have to fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's surviving matters. What are you gonna do? So I'm glad to see how this knowledge to living together with the animal is coming back, right? It's this love that is coming back. We start to respect, we start to see, to know each other, respect each other, living together, you know? It's a lot of nice things coming on with you. We went to, I think it was National Park to see white buffalo,
Yeah.
remember? It was
Yeah.
amazing for me to be there and just
One white
to be
buffalo,
close.
one black buffalo couple together.
Yeah.
Our family, brothers and sisters, we're very grateful to receive some buffaloes, and we just been there. So we just been helping, doing things with them.
You know what, I start to think about all this work you do that's really hard because the buffalo need space. It's a lot of land, you know. They have to move. They are no cows. You know? Buffalo is free family. They have to move. They have to have breathing in the natural way, right? And it's hard to see what you're doing. To see we have to put fence and keep them there, and we cannot grow population if you don't have enough land.
My tribe has experience with actually kind of having a failure with the buffalo ranch, but they've turned it around since then. But there was some mismanagement on our tribal. The Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation had a tribal buffalo ranch, and unfortunately we lost a couple to basically just mismanaging the herd. And most of the people that they put in charge were used to cattle management, and they tried to keep them as they tried to manage them in that manner, and it just did not work. But I think there's been changes since then, because it was brought to the attention of the local, not only the local government, but the state also started paying attention to it. It was a bit of a fiasco for leadership at the time, and it since has turned around, I hope, but that's yet to be seen.
This is a time of recovering our memory for we have listening to each other. Remember how we can be together again, and this is difficult when we're in, reinviting our relationships with these animal nations again. It is like mismanagement, like you're talking about, population, how their herds are gonna increase, and this is gonna be the time when they're asking us to push open the space. If we're inviting them, we have to listen, be part of that relationship, and if we're negotiating with other human beings, we maybe know how to negotiate with other human beings at this time right now more than in a way that they can't speak. It's like our grandparents all told us, our parents all told us of the time when we were in constant negotiations with other animals, and even my mother asking my mother asking me, did they speak English at that time? And I said, no. Okay, did deer speak Spanish at that time? No. Did they speak Chigasha at that time? I'm like, did they? And she said we didn't need those languages because we were talking to each other in the way that you talk to deer. The deer talk to you in the way deer talk to you. And she said they never stopped talking to us.
Yeah.
is, are we talking with them? Are we listening to them? And I was luckily very little when she told me this, so I continued to listen. This is what we need to do right now. Yeah.
I want to ask you, that it's true that John Deep actor donate some land to the reservation, or is it just propaganda? I don't know.
I think it's propaganda.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors, stuff going around about that, but I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I think it could happen.
Well, this makes me think about
Yeah.
this point, because since I was here, get involved with this, working like a journalist, meeting the people, it's many times and all the time, or why people, relatives, they want to say, oh, we can help you guys. Right? I hear this word many times. I'm glad to hear that, you know. It's one way to start to talking, to knowing each other, talking. And also they have, many of them, they are wealthy, you know. So I think this is the main issue for us. We can talk to them when the time is coming and say, we need our land back. That's what we need. We need our land back. Don't tell me anything else. So even if you put 1 square mile, a small piece of land, it's good enough for me. But we need to grow the land where how beautiful it could be if we make again the way where they connected the Yellowstone with Pine Ridge, and you just leave the buffalo running again, you know?
Well, this is where most of the park land came from in the first place. This was treated land.
1868.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need our land back. The government will not give us back our land. Wealthy friends, brothers, relatives, white people, healthy, can do it. Can buy it and say, that's the land. Sacred land, that's here. That's it.
Maybe as opposed to cattle farming, maybe introduce them to how to care for buffalo more. You know, there's a couple different cooperatives.
Yes.
You know,
I have a idea. So, in Cuba, which is an island nation, they have a herd of like pygmy cattle, and they just free range across the entire island, and it's illegal to hunt them. No citizens can. It's illegal. You get put in jail, and only the government can take them for meat, and that's where their beef comes from on the island. You could do that in North America, and it would be even easier because buffalo don't need antibiotics. They don't need fences. They don't need you to poison all the prairie dogs. They can defend themselves from wolves and such. They can take care of themselves, and they can free range across the Great Plains, and the whole ecosystem would be healthier. They don't destroy the land. You don't need to maintain it. They are in balance with it, and then the government could regulate, and it'd be probably cheaper than beef anyways.
Well, better than the government regulate, that we ask to be in that balance with them.
I'm thinking like a cooperative,
The
working
indigenous.
together. But like it'd be illegal to hunt them for just anyone to go and hunt them. It has to be,
Yeah, it could be the transitory process, right? Until we get back. Big issue is how we can get back the population of buffalo. That was big population, and now it's many things changing. You know, the cities, development, all these things is there now. We can ignore that, right? So it will be hard to grow all the population, but at least we can put it back in life. Find a way where they can get back in life. At least that's the main issue.
There are some cattle farmers who are working alongside indigenous peoples who have been bringing buffalo back, inviting them back, and also communicating with the cattle ranchers But there was an interview with them on a documentary, and some of these cattle farmers were talking about what they were learning about exactly what Holden is saying. What I'm thinking is there is already land which could be relatively easily connected for natural corridors for them because it has cattle on it right now. But this is what you're saying, Holden, is maybe that the population relying on beef so heavily, how there could be some kind of, what are you feeling about that, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's really, that's what I see happening now, and especially with the cattle industry and what's going on there. But I was just thinking about something about how the differences between, say, like the cattle and the buffalo. If you ever watch a buffaloes, the herd, they'll eat, they'll move, and they don't just stay in one spot and eat like the cattle do. They'll eat the roots. The cattle eat the roots of everything, and they'll just dry up, But then the buffalo, they don't eat everything. They'll eat certain, they'll eat like medicines, but they'll move, and so then they'll grow again. So there's a big difference in that area how they eat, and
they bite the food, they don't rip it out. They just bite it.
Yeah, just bite it. They eat the roots there.
Yeah.
So that's really.
This is an important challenge in the Dakotas, especially and in Montana, where many of the medicinal plants have been almost eliminated because the cows. And this really confusing because the government leasing land, which is tribal land, without even permission of indigenous nations, leasing it out to cattle ranchers for generations. And after a while, they just selling it. And with the idea that, well, the indigenous people weren't using it properly, which means to make a profit. That's how they believe properly using land is to make a profit. And this has really been only one of the many problems with the cattle has been the loss of many medicines because of how they rip them out, and they don't differentiate the need of that plant versus any other plant. They take all of them. Yeah. So with the buffalo coming, also the birds, prairie dogs will come, birds will come, hawk of course will come if prairie dog is there. For sure. And this is how they're bringing the seeds back, the medicine seeds back, so that the plants can come back to the land with the buffalo too. Because the birds will bring the seeds back. My grandfather said you need everybody. You need fox, you need rabbit, you need prairie dog, you need buffalo. They all have their work to do,
Well, they have to come back.
Yeah.
Everyone. They have to. Yeah. Unfortunately, as always, the short time, but this short conversation was great. I want to have the last point to talk, and it is everyone can be talk or relatives, like we really need help in this crusade, right? Jeff needs help in this crusade. We all need help in this kind of crusade because related to the buffaloes, it's related to the all ancestral families, animals we live together with. So I wish if everyone can talk to our relatives and ask for reciprocity. It's not like ask for help, please help me, I'm full, I'm homeless, please leave me live. No, it's reciprocity. And that's idea. For myself, I can start to call all the nations around North America and South America support this kind of work. We need to support it, find a way to support, whatever we can do, and we have to keep going in that direction. So
I First of all, I guess I just want to say Wopila, and what that means is a big thank you. And I want to say thank you to my brother Juan for giving us this opportunity to share this information where maybe it wouldn't be shared. And I personally want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys around here at the table, and to my brother here who's helping us, and my sister there that's helping us. And I'm really, really grateful to each and every one of you guys, because to me you guys are very, very important. And especially this young man, my relative sitting next to me, what he's doing, his work, and he's an artist, and I got to see his stuff, and that's connected. I believe it's connected to the way we're going, what we're talking about. I believe it's very parallel, because he's a strong young man, and he's gonna do good. I really feel that, in my heart. So I'm grateful to be part of this time. And I guess my role would be, I feel like what I'd like to do is take more initiative and more responsibility in what we talked about, what I shared about, and what I'm learning is how important prayer is, how important our spirituality is in this effort, and my responsibility. So that's something that I focus on, and focusing on, and how I can, do more of that, or just be more responsible. So it's, I'm real, but I can't do it alone. I believe like the example, like the buffalo, they're all together. They work together, they live together, they help each other. And so that's how I feel like with my friends, relatives here on this table, and out here, Barb and Pete, because they're guys are all a big asset, big help to this way of life. So really thank you guys for being here.
A call to action. It's definitely a call to action, and I'm humbled and grateful to be here. And it's ironic, I feel, that I'm wearing corporate clothes. I'm colonized, and I want to be decolonized. But there's a lot of money behind this little tiny label. Ralph Lauren, Ted Turner, the money bags, the true wealth of America. It's time to change it. It's time to turn it around and give it back to the people. And that is the call to action I feel that you've made. And I feel empowered to be around a young man who has such great ideas and works with his hands and creates beautiful things. And that's a good thing. I'm humbled to be in your presence, and I'm really happy that we are in this circle, and that we have a movement, because all of our movements, all of our actions, all of our thoughts, all of our prayers, they're going towards a good way. And I believe that we are here for a reason, and that is a call to action, and that is what's on my heart.
I recently went home a couple years ago, almost 2 years ago now, because we have a big invitation to come home right now in the Chigasha Nation, Chickasaw, Chigasha Nation. And when I went home, I saw a lot of development and a lot of work of my relatives, how they were putting things together. And even within my own nation, there is a lot of talking about how we are strengthening our own nation and inviting people home. One thing is we have stronger language program, teaching our children the language, and this was really important to me because when I first started hearing more Chigasha words, I realized that there was a language I could say what I felt. Not in English, and also speaking Spanish, I still couldn't say. You have to say an hour of words to say one word in Chigasha. So this was, for me, really inspiring, because this way of balance, which is not conquered, which is not colonized, we are still here, sitting here together, and also my nation strengthening many of the nations. It was a long time, really hard, but right in this last 20 years, I feel like a lot of us have been kind of picking up our heads and looking around. Like, it was a bit of a rest and recovery time, healing, and now we're well enough to pick up our head and see who else is also picking up our heads, and teaching our children too, recovering our ancestral memory, like you said. When I went home, one of the things as I was driving into Oklahoma, I stopped the car because I saw a river cane. Last time I saw a river cane was in a story. Yeah. I saw this relative and I recognized them, and I got out and I was like, oh my God, this is river cane. You know, I never saw river cane growing in my life before that moment, but I recognized my relative. This is one thing that our nation is doing, recovering language and also recovering the river cane. So what I'm going to do is go back home and ask about the buffalo and wolf and see where we are with inviting our relatives. I know the grasses, some of the grasses, we're inviting them back, and they're becoming very strong. So I'm going to go home and ask, and see we can invite some nations close by and far, whoever can come. And coming together and talking is good, because I feel like I'm at home right now. That in my heart I can have that feeling, and I definitely feel stronger and more. You know, sometimes Juan and I talk with children in other groups, and sometimes Jeff, we have spoken together, and Holden speaking. And one thing that I notice is we always say we instead of saying I. So this is how we can be strong together and in balance with our other relatives. This is why I'm feeling very inspired and strong. I feel strong today. Yeah.
Well, I'll do my best to try to spread awareness and I guess connect with the youth. You know, in my way, I'll do what I can. Through my art, I'll try to spread the word.
We say Anyay in my language. Anyay, everybody. This is thank you. Anyay. I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad. I think we got a short moment to talk each other.
Yeah.
I'm plenty happy, and we can say it until the next time. Have a good day for everybody. Thank you.
Chokma.
Let's get up.